your battles with the Celtics. Actually, we've always talked about those and your relationships, but I'm going to go with the civil rights situation because you told me that you had I think you say you had an uncle who lived in Boston.
Yeah,
and told you about how Boston was and gave you the impression of what Boston really was. And that stayed with you for a long time.
It did. And, it was during the time, I think in the late 60s, 70s, when busing was a big issue. Black kids being bused into the white neighborhoods. I went through integration through the third grade. I don't know if you did, probably.
Yeah, I did too.
And
yeah,
so
we did that.
No white kids came to Highland Elementary to our school, but we all, and the first year they took all the athletes. Second year they took all the band members, and then the third year they let everybody else come. Not the academic students. They took the football players and basketball players, let them come first. They started winning state championships. But it was the civil rights. What was your question? I got off.
No, I was just thinking about how it was being black and all the things that kind of go on that made you who you are, because you and I live the same way. And in fact, I was born earlier, so I went through the same stuff in Kinston. And I went through things probably that your father went through, where there were separate bathrooms, there were water fountains you couldn't go to, there were movie theaters. You were kind of at the tail end of that. Absolutely. When all that happened. Your parents knew more about it than you. And I think they almost put a fear in you about, the white man. That was it. Whoa, the white man. Don't do that. James.
Well, my grandfather, I believe, was a racist.
Wow.
And he would tell us, don't trust him. Don't talk to him. Don't tell him.
Who you're talking about right now?
Don't
That's Bob McAdoo you're talking about.
I got something to say about it. Let me tell you something. When we played you guys in the 80s, Bob McAdoo, about 3 hours before the game, he used to hand me a Malcolm X tape. And he said, listen to this tape. Boy, I was so mad when I came out there on that court. It's a true story, man. Bob said, listen to this. If you want to be ready, listen to this Malcolm X tape. But my grandfather used to tell us, don't trust him. Don't tell him nothing. And my mother heard it. She heard him one time. We never got to go hang out at my grandfather's house. He was also a bootlegger too. But we never got to go hang out with there without my parents being around, because my mother wasn't having that kind of talk. But, I remember, growing up, the N-word, nappy head, going down to Myrtle Beach, getting chased out of there, and so, and, going to you go up to Hickory, North Carolina, you go up in the mountains, play some of them teams. Late at night, they throwing rocks at your bus and, calling you all kind of stuff. So tough skin, you just have to keep moving. My dad said, as long as they don't put their hands on it, he said, just keep on moving, son. And so that was my thing until I got to college. And then I realized I'd never been taught Black history in my life. I was learning stuff. I was like, wait a minute. It was, June 19th. Wait a minute now. Who's Medgar Evers and all these people? I knew about Martin. John, and Jesus. You know what I mean? But
nobody even ever told us about Tulsa at all.
Tulsa
was like, I didn't learn that until I was, maybe 30 years old. I learned about Tulsa.
Thank God I had some professors in college that were like, you take this, sociology class. It's about Black history. I'm like, Black history, okay. But and that's the problem today, I could imagine if some 7th graders right now were talking about Tulsa and talking about the struggles together, instead of their parents teaching them something, it would slowly create a better world harmony, maybe by the time they got to college. You and I the shit we went through.
Yeah.
And we ready to kill somebody by the time we got into high school.
But did you ever think that you would ever see a black president during your lifetime?
No. I didn't feel, I have never felt the energy for it. One thing about college for people who come from like small towns where we come from, both my brothers went to Central. Both my brothers went to Central. So they were 7 or 8 years older than me. So I saw a lot of their stuff, but going to college, I didn't even know what a Jewish friend was.
Wow. So
I went to college and, all this diversity from New York and all around the world. And then you start to travel, you start to understand that, this is a big world out here. And then your mind starts to open up a little bit. Gastonia is just a small part of the big world.
Wait. Gastonia, it seems like Kinston, like people who are in Gastonia or in Kinston never leave. Yeah. And some of the people you go back now, you're like, damn, Junebug is still on the corner. You'd be like,
I got a Junebug too.
Yeah, there's a big world out here that we haven't even discovered. And it's almost shocking when you come back with your knowledge. You don't want to be braggish, but damn, dude, I done lived that. I done seen all these guys. I hung out with Denzel. I saw this guy. I know these guys are my friends. People must look at you and when you come back to Gastonia in a whole nother light. I mean, obviously who you are, but even more so now.
A lot of my friends and a lot of your friends who weren't athletes, okay? They were not athletes. They got the hell out. They got exposed. Just because we played ball and we got out, there's a lot of other people more than us who there's nothing wrong with growth. I love my hometown, There's some really interesting people there. But when I go home, I don't want to hear, boy, what you doing down here? You know what I mean? It's 2020.
They don't have a concept. And like you see, you're not kicking down on them, but this is just who they are as people, that their mentality for thinking is completely different.
Hello everyone, I spend a lot of time trying to get you guys nice videos, so please subscribe to this page, and please subscribe to my second page. The link to my second page is in the description section. Thank you.